Hey there, glad you stopped by. If this is your first time, hit that subscribe button, share this with a friend, and tell me where you're from down in the comments. After nearly 25 years as Melissa's husband, I didn't need words to understand her anymore. I could read her like a book. The way she held my gaze a moment too long, how she set down her silverware, or twisted her hair into a bun without even thinking. Each small action spoke volumes. That night, I came home from another exhausting day at work, and the silence hit me differently. It wasn't the comforting quiet I was used to. It felt staged. Normally, I'd hear the clatter of pans or water running in the sink. Instead, Melissa sat at the dining table, a bottle of wine already uncorked and 2 glasses waiting. She rarely drank outside of birthdays or holidays. My chest tightened. "Craig," she said softly, fingers wrapped around the stem of her glass like it was the only thing keeping her steady. I tried to keep things light, forcing a small smile as I dropped my keys on the counter. "What's the occasion? I didn't forget an anniversary, did I?" Her smile didn't reach her eyes. It was polite, almost rehearsed. "Sit down. We need to talk." Those words landed like a brick. I slid into the chair across from her. She poured wine into the second glass and pushed it toward me, every motion deliberate, careful. She spoke calmly, almost too calmly. She told me she'd spent so much of her life being my wife, raising our kids, running the household, that she'd lost sight of who she was. She needed space, time to figure herself out. There was an overnight work retreat coming up, she said. It might help her gain clarity. I nodded, keeping my face blank, but something about it didn't feel right. Melissa had never mentioned any retreat before, and the way she avoided my eyes said more than her words ever could. The next morning, before heading to work, I grabbed the family tablet she sometimes used. Her phone was still synced to it. A few swipes later, I found the truth. The messages weren't with colleagues. They were with Lucas Reed, a vendor from her office. Dinner reservations, hotel bookings, a schedule for Friday night, and one message I couldn't unread: "Can't wait to feel alive again." I closed the tablet and sat there at the kitchen table, letting the weight of it settle. Nearly 25 years together, and she was planning a romantic weekend with someone else, pretending it was work. I didn't scream. I didn't break anything. My decision was already made. Years back, during a messy home renovation, my sister had introduced me to Harper Quinn, a private investigator. I had kept his number, just in case. Now I called him. By Friday evening, Harper had delivered everything: screenshots of their messages, Lucas's dinner reservation at Skyline, confirmation of the West Haven hotel room, timestamps and receipts, airtight evidence. Oddly, I didn't feel rage, just certainty. That night, Melissa spoke casually about the so-called retreat, chatting about what she'd pack as though nothing were wrong. She smiled as though she still had control of the story, but I had already seen the ending. Proof was one thing, action was another. I wasn't going to argue, plead, or demand an explanation. I wanted a clean break. I called Jonathan Clean, a divorce attorney I'd worked with before. He didn't bother with small talk. I told him everything, and he laid out a plan step by step. The filing, the timing, the delivery. Everything was precise. The grounds would be infidelity, backed by Harper's documentation. Friday night, right in the middle of her dinner date, the papers would be served. Over the next 2 days, I played my role as though nothing had changed. I smiled, asked about her day, moved through the house like life was normal. Inside, every moment only strengthened my resolve. By Thursday evening, everything was ready. The legal documents finalized, a locksmith scheduled, her belongings sorted and labeled for storage. This wasn't anger. It was clarity, and it was final. We were already finished emotionally, but I wanted the ending to be precise, deliberate. Friday came. Melissa left just before sunset, a small bag in hand, smiling as though nothing between us had changed. I walked her to the door, gave a quiet nod, and watched her drive away. By 7 p.m., I was parked across the street from the Skyline rooftop bar, hidden in the evening shadows. Melissa arrived by taxi, wearing a striking red dress. Lucas Reed was already there, grinning like a teenager waiting for a dance date. I stayed in the car. This wasn't my moment to join, just to observe. When they reached the entrance, Jonathan's process server appeared, a man in a sharp black suit. Just as they sat down, he spoke clearly. "Melissa Lawson." She looked up, startled. "Yes." He handed her an envelope. "You've been served." He didn't wait for a response. I stepped out of my car and approached them, calm and collected. Melissa stared at the papers, frozen. Lucas shifted awkwardly, unsure what to do. "Your access to the house ends at midnight," I told her. "Everything you'll need is packed and in storage. From now on, any communication goes through our attorneys." She opened her mouth but said nothing. I turned and left, leaving them silent in the middle of a crowded restaurant. Near midnight, Melissa came back to the house. I watched from the kitchen window as she tried the front door twice, then knocked when she realized the locks had been changed. I opened the door just enough to hand her a folded sheet of paper. "Your belongings are ready," I said. "The storage address and key are inside." Her voice cracked. "You're really ending 24 years like this?" I met her eyes without hesitation. "No. You ended it at Skyline. I just finished it." There was nothing left to discuss. By Monday, word had spread at her office. Someone had seen her with Lucas that night and connected the dots. HR called her in. Since Lucas was a contractor, the relationship should have been reported. She was put on administrative leave while they reviewed the situation. Lucas began to pull away. I didn't have to spy to know how it would go. The unraveling was inevitable. At home, the air felt lighter, freer. I could eat dinner without the unspoken tension that had haunted the table for months. Yes, the betrayal cut deep, but this was my moment to act with clarity. Control was everything. Midweek, Melissa called. "Craig, can we talk? Just us, please." I didn't hesitate. "Only with a mediator present. It won't be private otherwise." She was quiet, then softly repeated, "A mediator." 2 days later, we sat across from each other in a quiet conference room. The mediator asked her to speak. I slid a folder across the table, photos, text messages, receipts. "Fairness starts with truth," I said. Melissa flipped through the pages, her face pale, searching for a defense that wasn't there. I presented the agreement. I would keep the house, the retirement funds would be split slightly in my favor, she would keep her car, and all communication, though we had no children, would go through a co-parenting app for clarity and distance. No space for games, I told her. With the evidence I had, she had no real leverage. After a long breath, she nodded. The final hearing came sooner than expected. Her attorney advised against dragging it out. She accepted the terms, her voice barely audible when the judge asked for confirmation. Lucas was long gone by then. When her career began to crumble, he disappeared completely. HR completed the investigation and issued a demotion and pay cut. I didn't follow her life after that. My focus was elsewhere. I started running at sunrise, meeting friends for dinners, reconnecting with old ones like Elena Morales. My days grew simple, steady, and free of emotional weight. One night, Melissa's name appeared in my inbox. "Craig, I know I broke something I can't repair. I'm sorry. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted you to know." I read it twice, then replied simply, "Acknowledged. Boundaries stay." No bitterness, no extra words. The line I had drawn remained intact. The silence at home no longer felt heavy, it felt earned. Standing on the porch, breathing in the crisp night air, I felt the freedom of being untangled from her choices. My life was mine again. After 24 years of marriage, she made her decision on a Friday night. I answered with clarity, with formal papers and deliberate action. It wasn't just the end of a chapter, it was me taking back authorship of my own life.